Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophia, pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue to unpack some classical China's characters. Zai is today's character, and simply because we have Zai Xiang, chief, a minister or minister, that keeps the role of, well, by the way, Zai Xiang, Chinese translate primary minister as Zai Xiang. Okay, so that gives us a sense of Zai is actually a pretty high ranking official. So instead of like yesterday, Qing we talked about anybody who interface with the ruler that's in charge of any specific category of things, then they may have a different rank, right? Actually, Chinese do have 上卿、中卿、下卿, so upper, middle, lower, definitely different ranks, but they all group as Qing versus Zai. If we say Zai, then that means that person is the top. So Zai Xiang serves as I guess, the primary voice to advise. So it's almost like a facilitated decision maker. That when Qing yesterday's character that presented different cases and arguments, right? And Zai Xiang is the one who kind of state after all the information is gathered, Zai Xiang was do this synthesis, right? And to kind of summarize the pros and cons, try to lead the ruler, try to make it simpler, right? To make it a logical pros and cons, and then the ruler make the ultimate decision. So that's what Zai is about. It's the chief, it's the master, it's the top of the whole stack of officials working under the ruler. And the Zai, if you look at a simplified traditional, they look the same. Versus 2,000 years ago, it's a little bit different because today's language, we shorten the shelter imagery. So shelter is like overarch thing with a chimney on the top. That means private space. It's full enclosure. And I guess humans would understand this. If you live on Earth, you probably know underneath it is the Earth. We just didn't express that. And if it's the ground, like nobody's going to see you from underground. So as long as all the other sides are covered, you are enclosed. So you have a safe shelter to be. And then the top chimney is critical. If you cook, I mean, I guess every household have to cook. Back then, yeah, I don't actually really know. Like in ancient times, if there are people rich enough to dine out every day, but if you have a household, the signature of that household, that's your private space, is this chimney. So that's assuming every household cook. All right. The middle part was the ancient corporal punishment tool. I haven't came across like how exactly the tool looks like, but it's supposed to inflict pain on the sinner, right, or the criminal, or whoever is the who was judged as somebody who committed a crime against the government or against other people. Okay, we can see this sharp vertical line going down, and my interpretation is here it's almost like a force from the outside and puncturing through this layer. So it's almost like your skin is your ultimate protection layer. And if that needle goes down through the skin, it's going to hurt, right? And this upturned curve is to signify that here is the indicator, like this puncturing, this action of puncturing is what we're talking about here. So that is punishment, is pain inflicting moment. And then on the top two horizontal lines, Chinese easily interpret that as heaven and earth, kind of to show you alignment with I guess, the universe. And even if this is human to human punishment, right? We like to evoke the universe to say to do this is against the law of the universe, even if it's a human law, and therefore you get punished, justifiably get punished. Okay, those people who get punished means the sinners. Also in ancient times, it means slaves. And when we have this shelter, private space covering the slave, that means it's like you own the slave. So owned slave means the role of the owner of the slave owner, then become this chief concept. That almost like that person owns either your career, right? Your independence. However, there is this inequality in there. And when we say somebody is a chief, this inequality is built in, right? How can we say this is a chief? Other people follow this chief. There gotta be this somewhat imbalance in there. And so this sinner or under the cover give you this imagery of somebody is ostracized by the society. Therefore, you have power over them. All right. 屠宰 in here, this 宰, this master, I translate it in slave, coming from this original meaning of slave under private space, a private slave. 屠 means butcher. So Chinese create butcher and slave together to make sure we know 屠宰 actually means butchering. It's not butchering humans. It's butchering of farmed animals as food source. So 屠宰 is a Chinese way to double down on the meaning. So they become mutual context. So audibly, when we hear that, if we say 屠 by itself, it can be, dozens of words. And when we say 屠宰, then it kind of locked down into only a few options. And then based on the context, most likely the listener can figure out what 屠宰 is about. 主宰 means, I guess, thought leader, because 主 came from this light, this candle holder imagery. And this chief then came from, not from thought, actually. It's from almost like a politically you're unequal, right? One is sinner, one is criminal, and you're or slave. You don't have your independence, and you're owned by somebody else. So one is lead by thought. The other one is lead by ownership, I guess. 宰相, this 相 we came across, translated as minister, which chief function is this eyeball looking at the tree symbol. That is to assess the situation. So this assessment and judgment is what this minister's chief function is about. And then when we add chief on top of it, that means among all the ministers, this one is the boss of all. So here is a chief imagery. When I search Unsplash, this came out. And I think in Western language, when we talk about chief, it's almost instantly related to this tribe imagery of the chief of a tribe. And they have a special category, and mostly older men, because they have all the wisdom and they probably know how to operate in their tribe to the best. So 宰, it means, this person is above everybody else. So that's chief. Thank you very much for your time. See you another day.